South Christian de Coopersville play their game at Caledonia High School. That is where our Jason Terzis is standing by live. Jay, 10-0 versus 10-0. This would make a great state championship, wouldn't it?
Oh, you know what? It's amazing that these teams are playing in the second round. And check this out. Take a look over here at the stands. Here we are more than an hour before kickoff, before this clash of the Titans, a couple of 10-0 teams. The stands are already full. You believe it? And yeah, it is kind of sad in a way that two 10-0 teams are meeting in the second round of the playoffs. Unfortunately, one of the seasons is going to come to an end tonight. These teams haven't played since '93, if you could believe that. But they nearly played in last year's playoffs. But unfortunately, Coopersville was upset last year, and the battle that everyone was waiting for never happened. But they're finally going to get to see it tonight. 10-0 South Christian against 10-0 Coopersville. Now, how about this? An interesting side note to this one. Central Michigan's basketball team has 7 players on its roster from right here in West Michigan, 2 of which will be keeping close tabs on this battle tonight. TJ Meerman is from Coopersville. His brother Josh plays for the Broncos. His dad, Jim, he's the head coach. And Todd Scrotenborg graduated from South Christian. So not only do these two guys, not only have they been going at it all week long in practice, but they also have the rest of the Chippewas involved in this little skirmish tonight.
Well, we got a little bet going right now.
Yeah, we do.
We got like half the team is pulling for South and half the team's pulling for Coops. So
actually, on the chalkboard in the locker room, we have South and Coops and stuff like that. So,
Were the guys voting or whatever?
Yeah, the guys are voting who they want.
Win. Yeah.
So, any friendly wagers between the two of you?
Nice little dinner wager.
Yeah, dinner wager.
1 down, 2 to go for Central Michigan. Chris Kaman looked very much like the MAC Player of the Year, and the Chips take care of business against Bowling Green. First win in the MAC tournament, first trip now to the semifinals since 1990. Everything goes through Kaman. TJ Meerman, rifle pass inside a rim rattler. Central up at the half. Second half, Meerman sees a seam, attacks it. He had 6 in the game and a handful of assists. Then Tony Bound from Hastings, open from baseline runner. He hits that one. Bound had 12 in the game, but Kaman 25 points, 14 rebounds. Look at that shot. Central wins 87-70 despite double-triple teams on Kaman all game long. Central Michigan hasn't been to the NCAA tournament since the days of Thunder Dan Marley, but they're a win away from ending that drought. Chips take care of Northern Illinois. No trouble in this game. Jay Smith's team playing fantastic ball. Coach of the Year, TJ Meerman out of Coopersville. Pull-up jumper, got it. The Chippewa guards played big in that first half. Meerman again from 3, put the Chips up 22-20. Then J.R. Wallace finished with 22 in the game. Wallace out of Muskegon, they were pulling away 35-28. Then Bound to Manciel to Kaman. 23 points, 14 rebounds. Chips win 94-72.
Well, for Central Michigan, it was pretty simple. Either win the MAC tournament or go back to Mount Pleasant and start thinking about next season. Something tells me Reese Puffer alum J.R. Wallace is pretty fired up about the Chips winning the MAC tournament. And he can also thank his teammate right here, TJ Meerman out of Coopersville, bearing the three-pointer. Career-high 16 points for TJ. Couldn't have come at a better time. Chris Kaman of Wyoming, the dunk and the foul, came in with 25 points and 13 boards. Then off the miss, here comes CMU. Meerman, great pass ahead to Mike Manciel for the easy hoop. And then Meerman going to hook up, going in J.R. Wallace. Yes, the kid out of Muskegon buries the three-pointer. Kaman and the Chips, they are cutting down the nets and going to the big dance. They are the MAC tournament champions. They knock off Kent State last night, 77-67.
Hello everyone, basketball is no longer a sport. It's now a job for 58 players that were selected in the NBA draft tonight, and the young guys are ready to cash in on their talent. The top 3 picks were as easy as 1, 2, 3. The Cleveland Cavaliers picked high school phenom LeBron James. He's the second high school player selected in the first overall in the NBA draft. James recently signed a $90 million shoe contract. The sky's the limit for him. The Pistons were next in line, and they selected 7-footer from Serbia, Darko Milicic. Darko should help the Pistons in rebounding. Third, of course, was Carmelo Anthony to the Nuggets. He's the number 3 pick. He led Syracuse to the national championship. All 3 players are considered potential stars. Now, it was rumored that the Knicks would use their first-round pick on Central Michigan star Chris Kaman, but the Knicks never had a chance. The Los Angeles Clippers selected Kaman with the number 6 pick. He's the first Chippewa drafted in the NBA since Dan Marley in 1988. The Clippers have struggled over the past decade, but Kaman is happy, and he believes he can lead the Clippers to the playoffs. Well, Kaman's former teammates, the Chippewas of Central Michigan, gathered today for the draft. I had an opportunity to talk to the Chippewas captain, T.J. Meerman. Well, TJ, your buddy Chris Kaman is headed to the West Coast. Kaman had a spectacular season. His critics will say he did it against a weak conference. Now, how tough is Kaman, and how will he do against centers that are bigger and stronger than him?
Well, one thing about Chris that he has is his foot speed. I mean, he's got the foot speed of a guard, and he handles the ball pretty well. So I think he's going to use that to his advantage. He gets to the hoop real well, and I mean, he can jab step and go both ways. He can use his right or left hand. So I think he's going to do well out there.
At what point of the season did you realize, hey, this kid is good enough to play against the best in the world?
Early on, he had a huge game against Michigan, 30 points, 20 rebounds. He had a huge game against Ball State. I think he had 43 points and something like 28 minutes of gameplay. So he definitely dominated our conference, and I think I kind of knew from there out that he'd definitely make a name for himself.